All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was absolutely crazy last week in the market. We saw the second down week of the year and had data give us a whole new story, or at least get people worried. But now this week, we have a little bit more data and the final symbolic ending of earnings with NVIDIA coming through. So, Chad, we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what's going to happen this week. It's a very simple breakdown. We're going to talk a little bit about the momentum and where we are at seasonality. And then, of course, we got to go over earnings, the plays, and everything else. So, Chad, what I need from you, a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket. We will see you there in the morning. And I need the random play. I've been forgetting. Post it there. It's not even Monday, I know, but post a random option in the comments right now. Keep it below $100. Strike price, options, expiration, all that good stuff. We're going to pick it tomorrow. Now, run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then it feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down.
But right off the bat, before we get any keys, I'm going to just give you a couple of fun facts. Number one, NVIDIA has moved over 12% on 2 out of the last 4 earnings. And then the second fun fact, a lot of people have been bringing up this market, and we got to talk about where it's going, but currently 5 stocks are responsible for 75% of the gains, and the market breadth has not been this bad since March of 2009. So that's where we're starting. But as far as the keys and what to expect this week, it should be a simple one. There isn't going to be much that we have to worry about in terms of data. There's only going to be the minutes in the PMIs. But like I'm saying here, I would be mindful of which way the catalyst vacuum pulls this week. We don't have much news. There's not data and big data sets like we got last week. If anything, thankfully for the short week, we're only going to have 4 trading days, and there isn't that many data sets that should get you reacting like we did last week. But now, end of the month here, how things are playing out, we keep hitting these highs. Now we're getting a new shift in that inflation story. What we want to see this week is, does the market actually pull in a direction, and does no news mean good news, or do we watch the lack of news kind of keep us pinned up here and then we don't do much? So we will be looking out for the minutes in the PMI. And the one thing I will say about the minutes, I am not expecting a big move, but don't forget, the last time Powell spoke, it was pretty hawkish. The rate cut odds did move back a little bit, then eventually the market brushed it off. But ever since we've heard from Powell the last couple of times, rate cut odds have moved back, but the market is in fact higher. So watch for the minutes here, because there was a time a couple of months ago where Powell was hawkish, the market ignored it, and then when the minutes came out, everybody got the reminder of how it sounded, and then that really affected the market. So we do have a chance of that. Otherwise, the PMI, that should be your biggest driver this week that ends up moving the bonds or could get people worried about the inflation story like we saw last week with the PPI and the CPI. Other than that, though, NVIDIA is going to be very important. I do think this has the ability to move the market pretty much as we get into this seasonality, if there really isn't no news, depending on what sort of emphasis or vibe this creates and what it emphasizes, that could cause a decent move. But at the end of the day, you got to realize this, NVIDIA reports late, and now what this is saying is that welcome to the end of earnings. We talked about this on the other watch list. We were talking about some of the strategy there with some of the plays that we've been doing, but in general now, we are going to be bringing earnings to a wrap. You do still have other companies this week. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up to HD and Walmart, and I think we're even hearing from Etsy and a couple of other names. I do have the list somewhere. We'll get to that when we get to the plays, but you are going to be hearing from these companies. This could start to move things, but like I'm saying, let's get the giant dog out the way. Now NVIDIA, their literal market cap is bigger than all of the China stocks, so this could kind of give us the wind or the sails and then see where the catalyst vacuum leads us, because it's not until pretty much middle of March, beginning of March, where we start getting those big data sets again. So watch out for that. That is key number one. Now, key number two, still related to what we got to deal with this week, there is going to be a lot of Fed speakers. We heard a lot last week, and whether they were bullish or not, it's kind of like it was a game of move the bonds, not really equities. So we'll see how either NVIDIA earnings or a lack of news and that momentum from last week, how that really drives us here. But watch out for the Fed speakers, and then now keep in mind there's still going to be a lot of stuff overseas that could affect us. You have China reopening. You're going to get EU, I think CPI and GDP numbers, even European Union, ECB minutes, and a couple of other places. I think Australia as well too. So watch out for it, because last week UK jobs, UK inflation, that started moving us around. A little comments from China and some of that trade data even on Friday, that got things moving as well too. So watch out for that. Otherwise, we don't have too much data-wise. I got to stress it, that we're focusing on this week. So watch out for all those other events. And then finally, the last key here, you got to watch out for market momentum. Again, I think Friday, that hot PPI shoot down, bounce back up only to sell off the last couple of days. I did say it will be harder to hit highs, and Friday kind of tested that. Then we started coming down, but you have to pay attention to this momentum we've been seeing, not only in the market, but the momentum of this no landing, soft landing narrative, how people have been feeling about inflation. I keep mentioning that. That was the theme last week, and that was the first thing that really gave you a little bit of volatility, or if you really pull out the market on the daily, I guess not 2 years back, but you could kind of see it. It gave us a little gap down and chop. This was your first like 2% down day in a while there, but it got things moving a little bit. We're going to see how this affects things out. And like I'm saying now, there's not too much that's going to be getting in our way. So keep in mind how the seasonality plays out from here, or any other news that makes sense with what we've been watching. Anything related to inflation, earnings doing much better, changing sentiment, that will be key, because other than that, February is usually a down year, and even if we are positive, it does happen in these last 2 weeks. Now, here's the thing. I've been saying that a lot, but here's the other side I wanted you guys to see. When February isn't a down year, it also rockets up. So although I kind of have a bearish tilt, or I think it'll be harder to hit highs up here, this thing is really pulling both ways, and that's why now we got to get through this week, get through earnings, see where the momentum starts taking us, see if we get any other new developments on top of it, and then before you know it, we're going to be wrapping up February, and then March and those big data sets come back, the SEP, and then we wrap up this quarter, and then we find out, is all of this run-up justified? But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got a couple of different plays. We even had a bunch on Friday. I'm sad about AMAT and TTD. They did not go up as much as we thought, but I'm going to throw these first two right here, because watch for the continuation. We were talking about if those plays went negative, and I think the ones further out the money did. If these March plays on AMAT and TTD, they get cheaper than where they were on Friday, I will be looking for a double dip. So I wanted to start off with that. I know a lot of people had questions, but other than that, still holding those plays. They were like a couple 100%, but definitely disappointing in terms of what we were expecting. But as far as the first play, I'm starting off with earnings, man, and I really hope you guys watch that past watch list just on Thursday, because we were talking about now this change in earnings season. We've hit a bunch of plays 9 weeks in a row, 1,000%ers. It has been absolutely amazing, but now we are getting into the later stage of earnings. So Square, they report on Thursday, but watch out for this late earnings effect. And what I mean by that is that the IV, how the stock is already moving, and the fact it's moved a lot, even while pricing in a lot, sometimes these contracts are going to be juiced. So hopefully you guys have been watching all of the videos, but just pay attention to the whole entire strategy of just, hey, let the pricing speak to you. We do this calculation. If it's pricing in 2 standard deviations and you got to pay a lot of money, maybe you shouldn't play that. So Square, if this isn't pricing too much, I'm going to be making a play on it. If not, then we'll probably not make a play and go for the double dip. But this is one PayPal didn't really have too much of a move. I remember last earnings, PayPal didn't move much. They were able to rock it, so keep your eyes out for them. But like I told you guys, there is a lot of other earnings. So even beyond just Square, let me pull this up. You still got got a bunch of other companies. We did make a play on Friday for Walmart. I don't know if we grabbed HD, but tomorrow after hours, Palo Alto, Realty Income, Teladoc, that's a big mover. Caesars, even MPW Wednesday morning. Then NVDA Revenue, Synopsys, Revenue Rivian, Etsy, Lucid, and a bunch of other names. So we still got a pretty full lineup here that we're going to be watching. We will be doing the earnings previews, but like I'm saying now, a lot has happened even after NVIDIA gets reported. It's going to remove that off the list. You are going to start watching a different pricing and earnings, and now we may have to get ready to move on to a season with less earnings catalyst. I know it's sad. It's sad, but that is play number 1. Watch out for Square. Then play number 2. This one I really like. I was looking for options on the futures on Friday. They were a little too expensive, but crude oil, it's at a breakout level here. They've been doing a lot of back and forth, everything from the beginning of the year in supply and OPEC and the war and this back and forth that we've been seeing. It's been getting kind of wicked here. It's starting to climb up here. You still got everything else that we've talked about still going on, but anything above like $80 here starts to get interesting on crude. I would watch out for that. This may be good to flip this week. My only problem is I haven't liked buying crude above like 72 or 73 because of all of this volatility, but I'd watch out for it. Anything above 80, depending on how the market wants to feel about other things and this whole recession stuff, I definitely think this is going to be interesting. So watch out for that. That is play number 2. And then finally, play number 3. We have a play on Pinduoduo. That was from a couple of weeks ago. They expire this week. They're about to get in the money. I'm still holding that. We're probably going to get rid of it this week because it expires this week, but Baba and Baidu, I still have my shares getting worked on, though. I think they're at the price that I bought them at on like the third average down. That's why I got round 4 over here, but a lot of good signs coming out of China here. They're opening up. People are feeling optimistic. We got a little bit of that good news on Friday with them, but what I'm saying here is just watch the China names. They're either going to come back from this new year, reemerge as the great, or they're going to have this little upside, and then before you know it, their deflation and property crisis and everything starts to hit, and then they start coming down once again. But other than that, this could be a great area to watch for. I am going to be watching those earnings, and I don't think I made any other plays on Friday. We had a lot of options expire from the strategy. I will be getting you guys a follow-up on how everything is doing. We'll go over all the different plays, but other than that, going to be riding out this week, see what the data gives us, keeping a head on a swivel just in case the minutes surprise, and then riding it out here towards the end of the month and seeing if all of this maintains. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydra Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember you are blessed, baby. Your attitude will determine a lot. You have a positive mindset. Doors will open up. But remember, you become what you think about. Once you have a destination, you will always get there, baby. But Chad, I love you. I hope your extra day off was worth it. I hope you got some rest. But I'll see you in the morning and or not.